Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Pundit. I am Denzel Snipes, aka Jake Mallett's birthday party, and I am here with Jacob Christner. Shout out to Jennifer Matthews Lewis. You are in our thoughts and in our prayers. Handle your business and come on back whenever you are ready. So, how's it going tonight?
Good. And all I can say is every time I look at that opening promo, I'm thinking, John Shearer, he had to have paid something to get the number two spot to go into that thing. He knew he wasn't going to beat Gary and Stein because they're on ESPN, but he had to do it to be a number two.
Right. Absolutely. He probably did pull some strings. I'm not mad at him for it, But we do have a jam-packed show, and without further ado, let's get into it. And our first one is going to be lack of minor league baseball play. So this actually was covered in a previous telecast of the Pundit, where I was a guest before I became permanent, and it talked about the minor leaguer who I guess he was stealing equipment and selling them, and it brought up the issue that minor leaguers don't get paid enough for anything. And you can kind of liken it to, okay, now I'm not condoning thievery or anything like that, but you can kind of liken it to society of, this guy wouldn't have to steal if he wasn't poor and there were better paying jobs or whatever, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I think it's a pretty easy comparison. If there were, and we're not saying give these guys like the big luxury, because in truth they're headed for that. But give him something to live off of, a decent apartment, mid-range, like pay his bills, get something to eat that's not spam or anything, and not dissing spam, even I eat it every now and again, but I came up on that. So
it probably is spam, who knows, maybe if they're in Hawaii. But
yeah, maybe so, but absolutely, I do believe that this is a bit of an issue. The thing about it though is this, and I'll ask you this question and then I'll bounce the mic over to you. And that is, in paying these minor league players, and I know that baseball has no salary cap.
Sure.
But at what point in time is it like I'm shortchanging the main roster because I'm trying to keep this superstar, for example, and I'm paying a bunch of guys that aren't proven yet?
Well, first off, did you hear what Rob Manfred said? Manfred said, I don't think they're underpaid. If someone that's making $17.2 million a year, saying that. And remember, you're talking to the guy who's definitely a capitalist. So I'm not against what he's making. Not at all. And he does do the work. As much as I don't like Rob Manfred, and I think the way that he's running the league stinks, I don't begrudge him the money. The issue I have is these kids are living off bonuses, and some don't get bonuses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, some don't get bonus because remember, if you're in a low leagues and you're just getting think for instance, Randy Macho Man Savage. He got into the Cincinnati Reds organization basically from going into, I believe, Busch Stadium, for a tryout with his dad taking him there, and he got in on the last shot.
Yes.
But someone like him wouldn't have gotten a bonus. And it's like, someone like him wouldn't have gotten a bonus. And here, in truth, his dad, very, very wealthy. At the same time, his dad was also called the Miser. The wrestler. Remember, he was Angelo Poffo, the Miser.
Yes, yeah.
But he was called the Miser as a heel gimmick, but he was also known as somebody who'd never spent a dime. So basically, but not spending a dime, there's no question, and I would love to ask Lanny Poffo this sometime. I would love to know how much he helped Randy. I'm not saying he would give a pile of money to Randy, but considering from that thing, then he'd have to have given him some help.
Had to have it. It's not sitting here saying that he gave him too much money or they didn't give him any money at all. You just want to know what level.
Yeah, it's like did give him a little bit of a did mom help? Just put a little bit. What moms don't do that? It's
not out of realm of thought. Even No Limit Records was started because Master P's father kind of gave him, I think it was $10,000 or something to start it off. Yeah. Everyone helps everybody, dude. I've always said that behind every great success is either someone where they got like a nice little lump sum to start with, or it was a great crime. But that's another conversation. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying though, but not every. Here's the deal. Macho played like 3-4 years in the league, and Landy would know better than me, obviously. In the minor leagues. Mm-hmm. He was done and went into wrestling, but he went straight into wrestling. It's like the stories behind that, but these kids don't have that luck. A lot of these kids don't have that luck I'd say a lot of them either don't have the luck of the parents that might help out, or they don't have the luck of a real huge signing bonus.
Right.
It's like, so the biggest thing is, like, I saw the Cubs just recently. We saw this thing. The great work that they did to put in some nice apartments. Mm-hmm. They did that work, and give congratulations to Ricketts on that one. They have some pretty swank looking apartments. But here's another thing. Then you get the Artie Morenos of the world, who are terrible owners, and they're probably going to lose. Ohtani's probably going to lose Trout, and it's just because here's the deal. These guys will get 5 RBIs and they'll lose 14-6.
Right. And you're talking about if you were to take the Astros away from the AL West, the 2 best players in that division. And even with the Astros in the division, a lot of people will say the 2 best players in that division is Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Absolutely. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. And a lot of people have been hearing me for ages and ages just go off on the Ohtani deal. I mean, has nothing. It's same with DeGrom. Has nothing to do with their talent. DeGrom is a monster as far as talent. Ohtani is one of the best of a generation.
Right.
And I get it, Carrots Noodle. Let me explain in a second, though. You're correct. I mean, I get that, but it's like, here's the thing. I'm not saying they're not talented. Where I'm at is I'm going after stupid media, especially in a world where they're trying to make Babe Ruth disappear, which you can't make a guy who hit 364 average disappear.
Yeah, he doesn't just walk away from history.
Yeah, you can't make a 259 career hitter. And somebody who has like 4 or 5 awesome starts, you can't make him Babe Ruth. You can't walk that away. That's what, and you can't walk him away, and you can't make Bob Gibson walk away and compare with a guy who's 34 years old with 77 career wins, just because it's the now. That's where I'm attacking. That doesn't mean they're not awesome to watch. They're amazing to watch. Right. It's just we've got to give perspective in this world.
True.
And that's all of my thing is. But no, Ohtani's awesome. And by the way, Michael, I wanted to bring this. You're correct. They haven't earned a big payday. I'm not asking a big payday. 40 grand's enough. That's not a big payday, but 40 grand with your signing bonus, if you're good with your money, you're doing everything. But you got to realize something. I'm comparing this to the tennis players. I'm comparing this with tennis players. There are tennis players in the futures who are betting against themselves so they can win.
Yeah, it's true.
They will bet against themselves so they can win. They don't make money. It's like if they do win, they're winning 15 grand. You're hoping to get to the next country with that. Exactly.
I mean, because what percentage of tennis players are the Williams sisters? And Federer. That's it. Federer. Yeah. Or if you want to go way back in the 90s, how many of them are Agassi or Navratilova or Steffi Graf?
Let's go McEnroe, who had a rich lawyer father.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, McEnroe had some help though. You know what I mean? How many of them other ones from the 90s really had help like that?
Yeah.
Because I think Agassi had to come from the mud. So did Navratilova, so did all the rest of them from the 90s. Agassi, and don't get me wrong, out of any tennis player of the 90s, Agassi's my favorite one. But
I was a Sampras guy, but my hindsight now is I love watching Agassi play, but I was a Sampras guy myself.
To me, here was Agassi, but here was Sampras.
Well, the thing about Sampras, it was just the fact. I can tell you this. Agassi would agree with this. Sampras kind of wiped Agassi out quite a bit. But the number one reason was Sampras had a 1 and 2 dangerous 1-2 serve.
He did.
Which Agassi really didn't. And that was because Agassi had a better return, but it was just
Yeah, absolutely. It's the whole notion, or the suggestion of 40, we could probably kick it up to 45 grand. Because once again, their big payday is coming. We're not sitting here saying, okay, like it's a little different. And you know what? Now that we're talking about this, I don't see how. So you know what? I'll just ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Explain. And we're talking about minors and they got to go through the farm system and whatnot.
Sure.
Explain Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson because they got huge paydays out the gate.
Yep. Yeah.
From Major League Baseball.
Realize by itself potential. Realize potential gets. Remember by itself. We look at it I just had a little debate with a friend of mine tonight before the show about boxing. There will be people when they feel potential's there, they will give them, handpick them battles.
Yeah.
And Michael Chang, yes.
Oh, Chang was that guy too. Good pick.
The beast. But they'll handpick these people forever, and they're afraid to get them to a Clubber Lang. Let's just use that as a reference. They're afraid.
Right, Rocky 3.
Huh?
Rocky 3. The guys you beat, they were all bums.
Oh yeah.
He'll kill you.
It's like, remember, Clubber only got that dang. Remember, let's just pretend that was real for a second. Clubber only got that match because Rocky went after him. Only after the fact that he goes after his wife. Only reason. Otherwise, if that guy doesn't show up, there's not a match.
If Mickey lives, Rocky never loses that title, and he never fights Lang.
Yeah, and it's like, and he never does, and it's like, and guess what? This is back in those days. Who's going to believe a mohawked, mean-sounding black guy compared to Rocky?
Compared to Rocky, exactly. And you know what? Now that I think about it, Mickey stays alive. He never fights Drago.
Yeah.
He damn sure wouldn't have let him go fight Drago.
Yeah.
After Drago killed Creed? Mm-mm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that, and those are, but I'm just saying, those are, we're doing the little things of a fictional thing, but that's true. It's like, those are, but see, these are the little things we have to think about with, it's like they do this. So why do they get these money? You're talking about they got that money off of about potential, because some people have a thought process. This is it. And like we were talking about Victor Wembanyama before the match with the game. He is the it. And I mean, I don't do this too often at all for the thing. Like there's people way back when with LeBron. Wembanyama's an it.
Yeah, I mean, I just think from my standpoint, and I know we're talking about two different sports, but
we've talked about four of them.
Yeah, 4 right now. But as far as the Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson, they are taken heavily into consideration. One guy's the quarterback for the Seahawks. One guy's the quarterback for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So without that, I don't think they get that payday. They start from the, I mean, don't get me wrong. If they was to go right now, they've got to play in the farm system for at least a little bit before being called up. And I think Russell actually played in a game on the main roster, several of them.
With the Rangers, I think. Who would have banked if he would have kept and got out of football would have been Tebow. Because he was a better baseball player through the high school and that than he was a football player. He just loved football more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael. But you got to realize something. You got to realize something, Michael. That in the story, Mickey protected the living tar out of him, and Rocky was oblivious to it.
Yeah. Yep. And with Russ and Kyler, because it wasn't even that long ago that Kyler actually was like, hey, I'm going to play football full time. And they started making him kind of pay their money back. It's just really interesting we're talking about this because typically you would have them go into the farm system, and I think a couple of them they've played a couple of actual farm games. But it's just nuts because Kyler, I was paid how much by the MLB coming out? He got like $8 million.
Yeah, something along those lines, yes. But the biggest thing, here's the deal now. Look at the money that they're going to make now. Athletes.
Right.
Look at the thing. And I'm telling you why. Look, Live Golf. We're talking about a fifth sport right off the bat from this whole thing. Live Golf. I was reading about this today. Live Golf is giving golfers options. The main people on the certain teams in there options for their teams to own them, and then they would be able to create their own sponsorships.
Their own, yeah.
They'd be able to create their own sponsorship. You don't think, and guess what? They're not looking for TV deals. They're looking for streaming deals, which I was,
Yes.
you've seen me. I've been talking about that, haven't I?
Yeah, you saw this coming.
Yes. And it's like, and this is the thing. It's like, you don't think Liv doesn't have it right there. You don't think this isn't going to be the next stars, individual stars in the.
It is. And you know what? And quick question for you. Do you think the people are mad at that because it's potentially going to be a shift away from major networks, labels, or whatnot? And it's like, hey, we're on independent. We're on independent. It's kind of like and I don't know how much you listen to hip hop, but it's kind of like the one who they go from being on a major record label to an independent label.
Yeah.
Anyone's familiar with that, you stand to make more money being independent.
Well, guess what? The label. Here's the thing: record label. Let's just be truthful. Record labels and TV deals are dead. They're just basically they're the Undertaker, the walking zombie of 1991. Wow. It doesn't know it's dead yet. It doesn't know it's dead yet, but it's dead. And it's like I said, it's because when you. I'm not a big hip hop guy. I won't pretend I am. But here's the thing: when you can get one huge hit and go on YouTube and get 65 million views, why in the hell would you want to give a percentage to a label?
Yep, that's true.
You're giving 5-10% to YouTube, and you keep 90.
Yes, that's it. Because once you get to a certain amount, they will pay you, and it's like, why would I sign to you? I can go come out with a hit right now. Jacob could get the band together and come up with a hit. Yeah, excuse me. He gets 3-4 million views or streams or whatever.
You don't think of Wembanyama we were bringing up? You don't think this is the reason I was saying these things are dead. These TV deals are dead. You don't think for what? I mean, I make a joke of I make a joke of all the time about Harden being this is the YouTube and the TikTok generation. Okay, I say this, but I was bringing that whole. But in truth, the Wembanyama's are going to take full advantage. I mean, the reason that Harden's big on those things is people love his little ISO moves, and he doesn't do a whole hell of a lot else.
Oh, right. But, just like you said, if he were a street baller, he'd be the best right now.
Oh my God. Oh my God. True. I've been saying for 2-3 years since you've known me that he needs to go 3-on-3 when it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope the best for 3-on-3 because he's their star.
He would be the face of the league. Huh? He would be just like I said last week or 2 weeks ago. He would be if Colin Kaepernick went to the USFL.
Yeah. And it's like, no. Let me say this now. I can mess around because I know what I'm saying is right about Harden, but his talent, you put that name in Big Three and it makes millions. It makes millions of dollars right off the spot. He is still a name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he is monstrous on YouTube. He is monstrous on TikTok. He's monstrous. Those 1-2 minute clips kill everything.
Oh yeah.
Those are just the things I bring up. It's like, this is why I was talking about with all this. This is an individual world. People are, the PGA's mad at Liv. But Liv's killing them because you're giving the individual golfers the opportunity to go make a lot more money.
True.
And and it's going to lead to other athletes with everything making their own money and retiring earlier.
Yes, absolutely. And it goes to, so I remember when I was in college, I actually wrote an article about generations. And one thing about Generation Z, which is the current generation right now, is that one thing that stands out is, a lot of, baby boomers and even some Gen X, they want to say, oh, well, these Generation Zers, they don't want to work. That's false. They want to work. They just don't want to work for anybody. And another characteristic that stands out is because Generation Zers were small children when they witnessed their parents and their older siblings go through the recession of 2008.
Yeah.
And they told themselves they weren't going to be put in that position again.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing about it is they don't want to, it's like they want to work their way. This is the deal. They want to work their way. Remember all this now about wrestlers. I brought this up about Cody Rhodes, and you know this is going to happen. You know it will. He wanted to be an actor first.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to be an actor when he went to get his dad sold his own watch to get in, see if he can go to Hollywood. He ends up being a wrestler, but he wants to act. You don't think he isn't back in WWE because he wants to take advantage of WWE studios?
Because he's looking at seeing what The Rock's doing, what Cena's doing, what Roman Reigns is going to be doing in 2 years, and he wants in. Let's not forget, when Hogan left the WWF in 1993 the first time, his intention was to retire and become a full-time actor. It was Bischoff that brought him out.
And I know darn good and well Hulk Hogan right now is watching these opportunities and noticing he's 68 years old and hates every ounce of him being 68 years old.
Yeah, that's true.
This is why he keeps that ridiculous skullet. This is why he keeps being 296 pounds. Has no bit at his age. He needs to be about 245.
Yeah, and I remember I was reading an interview about him a long time ago, and he said, because the career takes a toll on your body, a heavy toll. By the way, everybody, stay tuned for future episodes. There is going to be an all pro wrestling Pundit episode. Soon. That one's going to be real deep. So stay tuned. But with Hulk Hogan, he mentioned in an interview of how he had to take like 7 different medications per day just to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Just to get out of bed.
Well, see, and that's the big deal. The biggest thing about it is like we listen to Jim Cornette. We listen to Cornette's podcast. We'll listen to his thing. He is so entertaining. He's making more money than he ever has in his darn life now, just sitting at home and he found a way to do this. He's making some serious cash. He's talking about the old days.
Yes.
But you know something? For a moment, if you go back to these smaller towns, you could bring back the older days with bring Smoky Mountain West Wrestling back. I promise you he'd do fine with it, especially in this era where wrestling is starting to get there. But he wants to sit at home and go make money. But guess what? He can't make the biggest thing is he can't make it big with the wrestling he saw now because he could never keep enough wrestlers. They're all in. It's the style of wrestling now is the Marvel. It's a Marvel movie. The style of wrestling now. It's like remember Edge versus Randy Orton in one of the WrestleManias. It was the world's greatest wrestling match. They promoted it as such, and it's like which wasn't, but we've seen a billion others. But they promoted that as a wrestling match, and it's like.
And you saw every finisher from the Attitude Era.
Yeah. But it's like, but guess what? The thing about it is the fact they can say that because the world, this generation is used to Marvel. Yeah. Marvel movie. And the Marvel movie, look how Charlotte Flair dresses. Look how Becky Lynch dresses. This is not, by the way, I'm going to call Becky Lynch the one, not the man, because she's not a man. And she's, and it's like, look how she dresses. Look how Sasha Banks dressed.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll take you even further back, and you can go on YouTube. The first one that really started coming out there as Marvel characters was Rey Mysterio back in 2002, right? Because he had a Daredevil fit, he had a Captain America fit. Then look at Ricochet. Ricochet came out there as Nightwing, and Nightwing's DC. So yeah, I agree. Like they're kind of, but you know what? Also at the same time, you can't really say the Marvel generation, okay, Rey Mysterio's coming up on 20 years. Rey Mysterio wrestles like that because he's a luchador. That's the style in Mexico.
The thing about it, though, Ricochet and Rey Mysterio are never going to be mistaken as people that's going to beat the crap out of you in a fight on a thing in a people's mindset. They're small. Now, truthfully, in their training, they're going to take apart a lot of people. I'm just being honest about that. But by being mistaken, they're not going to be Roman Reigns in that, oh my God, they're not going to be Brock Lesnar, oh my God, none of that. So they could get away with the Marvel. But guess what? The ones that you could say we could kick the crap out of are doing the Marvel deal also. Yeah. Look at the build of Roman Reigns. Look at all this. The one person not doing that is Brock. True. And and you saw what Brock did with just in that little 3-minute segment with the tag team. Yeah. With Otis and it looked like he just ripped you a shreds because he can.
Yes, because he went to the octagon and was doing that.
Yes. He just
That's what makes Brock's character so believable.
Yes, he was doing that. And he won, no matter if he got disqualified, he won his final fight. People know this.
And a lot of people forget the first time he left WWE, he went to the Minnesota Vikings. He played in a preseason games and got a few sacks.
And I can say this: he also got Sable, which I'm not fond of Sable, but he got Sable. And the thing about it is, this is the thing: Sable is the most protected wife in America.
Yes.
Because not only does he know how to hand-to-hand kill you, he also knows how to shoot.
Yes, he's an outdoorsman. He's been an outdoorsman.
Yeah, so it's like she's the most protected woman in America by a 50-mile stretch.
Absolutely.
When her husband is fast. Not only is he strong, he is ridiculously fast.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he is. But before we go on to our next topic, if everyone can just look down at the bottom of the screen, if you download the Score No Score app via Google Play and Apple App Store, we are sponsored by Score No Score. And so what it is basically it's gambling for dummies. Thanks, Dom, for that comparison.
Yeah, exactly.
But what you do is you're not betting on games. You're picking a game and you're betting on play-by-play and what's going to happen next. They give you a set amount of coins. If you want more coins, you have to purchase them. And I mean, it's just fun. Like even someone who's only the tiniest bit into sports can have fun with this. You know what I mean? And then maybe that will get them into sports. I guess the Score No Score app could be the gateway drug. You know what I mean? But it's at the Google Play and Apple App Store. It's free. Download the Score No Score app. And moving on to the next topic. Let's see here. Coaches and young athletes and sexual assault. So whenever
young boys too.
Yeah. Whenever this came up, what immediately came to mind was that that physician for the U.S. Gymnastics team, they got convicted on multiple counts of sexual assault. And then, of course, there was also the Jerry Sandusky incident. And Joe Paterno got a lot of fire for it and whatnot.
Chicago Blackhawks trainer, 2010.
Yeah.
Which basically ended the career of a really, really good coach like Quinville. And
yes.
I mean, and it's like it basically ended it. And it's like, I'm sorry if I interrupted you because I got
No. I was going to pass it to you anyway. Go ahead.
I want to know what it's like. We're going to use this with Deshaun Watson also. It's like I said to you before. Let's do the devil's advocate. Let's say Deshaun Watson. Let's just pretend for a second. I mean, we're not going to say this in the sexual assault. We're not saying it is or it isn't. We're going to say, let's just pretend for a second they find the absolute best case scenario out of his whole situation. Mm-hmm. His best case scenario is he does not whatsoever, and was he 27?
Yeah, about 27.
He does not have 1 ounce of a healthy sex life at all. And then you think about this. We used to think of this with Catholic priests when you hear these things, because I mean, that's disgusting and ugly. But part of what you're going to get when you have something along the lines of, oh, by the way, you can't get married. Oh, by the way, you can't have sex. Kind of goes with that territory a little bit. And it's an unfortunate thing. That's a horrendous problem. And then you get kids who are screwed the rest of their life. And it's like, but here's the thing. I remember, and I will say this. I'm bringing up the thing with the Chicago Blackhawks. The kid that was sexually assaulted by the trainer. Mm-hmm. The boy, mind you. Sorry, I'm going to say the boy because it's like now that I mean, this is ridiculous here. Now you're getting Kevin Spacey at this point. It's what I remember saying that you hear these things all the time. You hear these things like you would hear that, like when you see a horror film and they're saying, if you tell your parents I'm going to kill them, whatever. See, growing up, maybe I was overconfident because of my dad, but I was like, good luck, have fun with that. But he was older. He was old. The dude was tough, no question. But he was older. Maybe I was overconfident. I was damn lucky that I didn't see what could have. Maybe maybe I would have seen him win, and I would have had even more confidence. But who knows what would have happened if I would have seen him lose someday? That could have really screwed you up because I really over the top. But I'm still at that point. It's still great in that moment, of hindsight, that I could have that kind of confidence that he's there. That he's there, and he said it himself. He's either going to take care of it or he's going to get somebody to do it for him. He said, but it's like, but I'm just saying, think about a young boy like me who could say, yeah, right. You're I will go tell him, thank you, and you're screwed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're screwed. But these kids, they don't have this.
No.
One of two things goes into this. Number one, that is their father. They don't have one, and they have a single mom. Or they have a father, and that's in their dad because they've been around since they're 3 years old going to traveling teams.
Then there's also the fear because there's also that fear of power because their abuser here is threatening them with all kinds of stuff like you'll never make it, you'll never be anybody, and all the victim ever wants to be is a gymnast, a tennis player, or whatever. You know what I mean? They get to hearing that 10, 11, 12 times. What does the general expression say? You hear the same thing 10 times, you might start to believe it.
Yeah. I want to know though, just from like Team Canada has a scandal going on with it now too. Team Canada does. I want to know from these coaches if I could get 3 minutes in a room. I mean, I don't even want to be any more than 3 minutes because I want the other 2 minutes to be thrown through a wall. But yeah, I mean, and I know you do too. Thinking about that, you're hurting kids. And I want to know from them in that 1 minute, where does this unhealthy sexual thought process come from? It's like I said, Catholic Church, disgusting. What is going on with that? But when you have a dogma that says you cannot.
That's why whenever the Pope says something, I just kind of roll my eyes because it's like, dude, you need to clean up your church.
Here's the deal. I am a Christian believer, and I'm saying that hard. I've never been a fan of Catholic. I've not been, but that's here nor there. But here's my thing. You do see that, considering the dogma said you can't get married, you can't have sex, all that stuff. That's kind of going to happen. It's kind of going to happen. But where is this happening? Where is this happening with coaches? Yeah. Are they that much around that they're not home having sex with their wife or a girlfriend? Hell, or a mistress? Something. Yeah. Are they?
I mean, I get it. Whenever you are a college or a pro coach, you actually are going to be spending way more time away from your family than actually with them. But here's the thing. Not all of them are sex abusers and ain't involved in no sexual abuse.
No question. But kids?
Yeah.
That's my thing. Kids? It's like, where is this? I mean, what is your issue? Where's your? I mean, I'm saying, boys, girls, what do they think? Kids, what is your issue? What are you that screwed up?
Yeah.
Where is this coming? How are we this unhealthy minded? Where this has become a scandal? This has become ridiculous. Where we have horrendous human trafficking problems.
Right.
Which. And I will say this about I'm saying this about the country in general. How crazy have we gotten when Donald Trump was the number one guy to go after it?
Yeah.
Where are we screwed up when he did, where nobody else went? I'm saying, and I'm just being truthful. I'm not bringing this as a political thing. I'm saying when he is a screwed up mind and he went after him. Mm-hmm. It's like, where are we? Why isn't every president going after this? Where can we start investigating things? Why are we having such a unhealthy sexual problems?
Yeah.
And maybe it is. We've joked about porn. Maybe people are too much into porn.
Yeah. I mean that right there, it's just a totally different mindset. To go after somebody so innocent and all I can say outside of that is it's just selfishness. They're not thinking about what they're doing to the young athlete long term to the kid long term or anything. They're just trying to get their own certificate. But also, you know what? It's a power thing too. It's a power thing too. Just like whenever we talk about rape, you ever heard the expression like, it's less about the actual sex and more about power, about control. Some people say like power may be like, addicting, I guess, but
Remember the person I just brought up? Talk about Mr. Power.
yeah,
I'm
but
saying that with him too.
here's the thing. Even with that power addiction, it goes as far as this.
Yes.
And it for damn sure shouldn't. But I'm just, putting out there what power addiction, how far that can take, unfortunately, some people.
And it's like, I mean, it used to, but it's like it felt simpler. Like back in my hometown, we had a legendary basketball coach, Jerry Leggett. You know what I mean? We have a legendary, and like I said, 64 straight wins. I mean, he got to the state regularly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was big. He got run out of the town because he was an alcoholic and a drunk, and he just in a 40,000 person town. And he was just a drunk that always got pulled over, and he used his power to get away with the deal. But he was a drunk. Yeah. And he was a drunk, and it's like, but that was and you know what's crazy? Drunks kill people every day, but we're calling that simple in comparison to what we're seeing now in power. Mm-hmm. We are calling that, because what we're seeing in power now is sexual abuse of kids. And we can't say that didn't happen way back when. Because you want to know who else is getting affected? Kids in college. Because look how many seniors in these like high schools, let's just say whatever, they have cut football seasons, they've cut basketball, whatever, because there has been stories of like freshmen in initiations. They will stick a pool table as a cue up the kids naked ass. And that's an initiation. Where is this healthy? Where is this a healthy thought? And I want to know, okay, boys, who did that to you, seniors? Because there's no way your thoughts are healthy to even think that that's a good idea.
Exactly.
The thing is, they probably assaulted girls too. Mm-hmm. These types, their power to the trip. They do, but if you're doing that to boys, if you're doing that to young boys and you're 18 years old, then of course you're going to rape later in life when you're in a Wall Street. You were doing that then, but where is this going? What makes you think that that makes this right to do the 14-year-old boy?
Right. And also considering like circumstances, because with some of these young athletes, sports is literally all they have. They may come from impoverished areas. They may come from, to where like literally they don't have any other talent but sports,
Well, or rich kids who get saved by their dad.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people a lot of kids don't even have that, so it's like you take someone like this that's sexual abusing these young athletes, and they use that to their advantage, and they get to telling them you'll never be anything if you tell, you'll go back to the situation that you came from, things like that. I mean, that's just triple heinous. You know what I mean?
And it's horrible. And I I'm asking with the coaches, like I said, with the seniors the seniors that'll do that to the little freshmen and stuff. Where's the coaches to take full? They're not, because guess what? They're thinking of winning right now. They are thinking of winning right now. You're taking them away. But you know something? That's screwing up a bunch of boys.
Yeah.
That's screwing up a bunch of boys and girls, because we have the whole gymnastics deal. We have the whole gymnastics deal the whole Bella Caroli deal. With a bunch of women. But I want to. That's the thing. I'm just asking. Where does this all? I would love to know from these coaches that this all happens. I would just love to hear from the wife with a fly on the wall. Why can't you get it up?
Yeah.
Why can't you get it up? And it's like, oh my God, maybe it's me. Maybe the women are going, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm blah 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 blah. In the meantime, they have such an unhealthy thought process.
Yeah.
And that's where it's ugly.
That's absolutely where it's ugly, you know. Let's see, we're at the 40-minute mark, and
I talk a
we
lot, I
go
know.
on to, or oh, no, we're good. Let's see here, and everybody, also don't forget that you can tune in to not only this show but every other show on the Sideline Sports Network on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And on Twitter, just follow at Sideline Sports One. And this next one, I came across this topic, a quick short story here. So I was on deployment. I'm prior military. I was on deployment from Christmas Day of '08 to 1 July 2009, and came across a good buddy of mine. And like the whole deployment, like music, sports, you name it. Like every single day, we were heavy on it. And we came up on the topic of quarterbacks who never really got their fair shot, and in particular, some really black talented quarterbacks that never really got their fair shot. Um, Nowadays, Lamar Jackson has his criticisms. All he does is run. He can't throw. He can't do this.
Which
He
is
can't.
Roman, which is Greg Roman for one thing.
Yeah, and people forget Greg Roman developed Kaepernick, so there's that.
Well,
But and if I had,
I'm sorry, I wanted to say this. Greg Roman treats him like a Tecmo Bowl. It's like he doesn't give him a whole. He gives him 4 plays, 6 plays. I mean, I'm just saying that's what he does.
yeah, he does. It just so happens that they'll win 12 games off those 4-6 plays. But anyway, and I'm pretty sure if we had our boy JJ on here, he would explain a whole lot better as far as the Lamar Jackson thing. He's been brought many times on his network. But you get to looking at quarterbacks like Chris Leak out of the University of Florida. And I really wanted to get your thoughts about that because he went to the Bears, and you being a resident Bear fan.
Sure.
And then also, the topic of Troy Smith came up. And I'm just gonna say my thoughts about Troy Smith, and then if you can go into yours about Troy Smith, and then Chris Leak, then we just keep going. Troy Smith, a lot of people will allude because he fell to the sixth round of the 2007 draft. He was a Heisman Trophy winner. He won the Big Ten. They were undefeated. Now, a lot of people will say he fell so far because he got smacked in the national title game. I don't believe that for one red second. I don't. I don't believe, even though it was the biggest stage in college football, I do not think that should drop a player so low. You want to take him to the second? Fine. But the sixth round, here's my true thought. The reason why he fell so far was because scouts were not high on his size. He was listed at 6 feet tall. He's really like 5'9", 5'10". Now, he was about 225. He was a stocky dude, but He wasn't tall. He wasn't the prototypical NFL quarterback height, i.e. a Tom Brady, 6'4", a Peyton Manning, 6'5". You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the real reason, in my view, why he fell so far is because to them, he was a tiny guy. Now, mind you, this was years. I know before y'all bring up Russell Wilson, keep in mind, this was 6 years before Russ, 5 years before Russ. Yeah. And at that time period, that's when the game really started to evolve. Now, as far as Chris Leak goes, I really can't put my finger on Chris Leak. I know he easily had the better arm than Tebow. He had actually a pretty strong arm and awesome pocket presence, I just really don't, because he went to the Bears, he never really got his first shot, then he went to the Arena League, and then just kind of fizzled out. But what do you think was the issue with, if you would like to comment on Troy Smith first, go ahead. But I also really want to get your thoughts on Chris Leak.
What was Chris Leak, 2009, right?
Leak was drafted in 2007. He came out the same time as Smith.
Got to remember this part here. It's like you get to this point whatsoever. During that time, it was as really off the wall as Rex Grossman was. They had Rex Grossman off the wall. I can't. And guess what? Can't say you heard me what I said, and I don't care.
You see my reaction right now, right? Because we see how Grossman turned out to be.
Well, we know you're talking to somebody who said if they just let Kyle Orton in the game, he throws 135 yards in the same touchdown that Grossman did, he wouldn't have had 5 interceptions. He wouldn't have had 5 turnovers by himself, right? Because that wasn't Kyle Orton's thing. He had 5 turnovers one time in his career, and that was a bad game against Cincinnati. Every other time, he was the 1-and-1 guy, 2-and-1 guy, 225 yards. And guess what? You do that every game. and you do that in the Super Bowl, guess what? They would have run Thomas Jones to death, and they would have had him throw 135 yards, and Kyle Orton would have had a ring.
I'm gonna bring up. Hang on a second. Super Bowl was it XLI? Okay, I'm gonna bring up Manning's stats in that game.
Yes,
and this will give you some perspective because he won Super Bowl Most Valuable Player.
Yep.
But I'm gonna read his stats. Okay. So
okay.
He was 25 of 38 for 247 yards, a touchdown, and one interception. He had a passer rating of 81.8. So I can see why he won Most Valuable Player. You know.
But what? But the thing is, like I was saying, the way that defense was, if it's 240, that wasn't a normal game for Manning. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a normal game. He's 3 and change, a lot of change, and that's. But I'm saying, I've been saying this forever with people laughing and whatever. You put Kyle Orton in that game, and it's Thomas Jones half to death. It's Thomas Jones half to death. It is Kyle Orton throwing 6 yards. And it is him getting up.
That defense was immaculate. The Bears probably win that game.
Yeah, and guess what? And he gets his ring, and the TJ would have probably been the MVP.
Right.
And it's like, and that is the thing. And it's like, when people laugh at me, they don't let me finish. They think I'm thinking Orton was the star. He's no star. But again, it's the same with Mitchell Trubisky. Trubisky's better than Orton. But I'm saying it is the cog in the wheel, which our fantasy football and our YouTube world and everything can't allow.
Right.
You can't. If you are not the star, you suck. And that is where the thing. But go ahead.
But they don't pay attention to the Bears' history. Outside of Sid Luckman, name one elite level superstar quarterback. Mind you, they have yet to yield a 4,000-yard passer.
Which Nagy screwed up. Nagy screwed up with the whole. He screwed that up with the whole Foles flip.
That one
because Trubisky averaged 260 yards in his game, which would have been 4,100 yards.
Right.
But if he would have gone 16, you know what I'm saying? That would have been the 4,000. But that's the thing, though. It's like, now let's bring up Chris Leak. So we hold the thing with Chris Leak. There were in this. It's 2007. Okay. It's 2007. They're probably asking, now, how would you like to be a wide receiver? You know. I
can't say it on the air. I can't say it on the air, but you know what I want to say.
Go ahead. You can say it.
Dude, man.
Dude,
I will never get why. Because you know what? It happened at the University of Texas. You know they wanted Manziel to position switch, and if I'm not mistaken, they wanted Jameis Winston to position switch.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And it's like, what? You've seen what Chris Leak does. At this time period, this was the dawning of the SEC domination for years. It started with Florida, didn't it? With that Florida team.
Sure did.
Okay, so with that being said, him being that proficient of a passer in the hardest conference in the land, or what will go on to be the
Urban Meyer's offense, which was not an offense, it was a backyard football.
It was the same offense he had at Utah, which would be the same offense he had at Ohio State.
And Jacksonville.
And the Jacksonville Jaguars. But we're not going to count Jacksonville. Go ahead, man.
But no. Chris Leak did, and I am saying this. I'm a big Tebow fan as there is anything there is. I'm saying, considering your 88 career touchdowns, 16 picks, he definitely had an efficiency. There's no darn question. The main thing, I will tell you this right now, what changed Tebow's whole world and the rest of his life was that speech. The speech when they lost that game to A&M. You know what I mean? I think it was A&M.
It was Auburn.
Huh?
It was Auburn. They beat Auburn.
Auburn, yeah. But it's like, thank you. It's like when they lost that game, 31-30, and he took that speech. It changed his whole life. But you want to know what it did? It also made him a preacher, which he is a tremendous at that, and he made him a motivational speaker. Guess what? He didn't have to be successful in the NFL. He's got about 6 things to make money right now. But I love Tebow. But the thing about Leak is the simple fact that he made his numbers with a Urban Meyer offense, which is like Trubisky making numbers of any type with Matt Nagy's absolutely nonsensical offense, which always broke down.
Now, see, here's where I have a problem. I understand that, but wouldn't, in theory, since every offense has a system, wouldn't every quarterback in theory be a system quarterback? Man,
Yeah.
okay, Brady's a product of Belichick. Manning's a product of Dungy.
Yeah.
Chris Leak, product of Urban Meyer. Cool.
Well, Manning was also
And
a
who's to
product of
say he wouldn't have
Arians.
been successful with Lovie Smith?
Hey, Manning was a product of Arians too. Let's just say that.
He was. Yep.
Yep. No. Well, you know something. The truth is the biggest thing is we can say this: Lovie Smith is no offensive guy.
No.
None. But he is no offensive guy. But considering how the Bears had such a horrible deal with Matt Nagy, I can tell you this: the last. This is the thing right now. It got so bad that we are now in a situation where Justin Fields has to have a breakdown. I mean, monster season, or he's competing next year, and it had no business being there. He could have sat all year. They weren't going to win any more than 6 games with. They weren't going to win any more than 6 games with Andy Dalton. Just let him go. Yeah. It's like let the kid learn and do it. Instead, you got a 2-8 quarterback in a league that is not on Twitter. Twitter talks about, he'll get another year. No, this is the NFL. They see another 2-8. They see another 2-8, and he's going down. He's going down.
Hey, now keep in mind they did get screwed against the Steelers last year because top level defense like Pittsburgh and Fields shredded them.
Yeah, well, it's Mike Tomlin. I'm just being truthful. It's like let me be truthful. Mike Tomlin's 18-2 in the last 2 years and gained 6 points and under. He is. It's like Mike Tomlin just knows that Mike Tomlin is the last version of Mike Ditka. What I'm saying, this is what I mean by that. When Ditka was in '91, he didn't have the same talent anymore. He just shredded the dang ball. He just shredded the field to death. I call him Ditka drives. Yeah. I call them Ditka drives, where you get 12, 13, 14 plays, just run the clock to death. It's like Roethlisberger can't throw anymore. Just boom, 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 boom. 3rd and 1, boom, first down. That's what Ditka was. And
that's what Tomlin did the last year of Roethlisberger, too.
Yeah. Well, Roethlisberger couldn't throw the last 3 years anyway. So,
the nutso part is it was just 2 years ago. They won 12 games with that Asian quarterback.
And you know something? And they won, 10 last year?
Yeah, something like that. What?
He averages 11 wins a year for 15 years. But you'll get idiot fans that call him mediocre Mike. How would you love your team to have 15 straight year winning seasons?
Yeah, exactly. Mediocre Mike. That doesn't make any sense.
These fans are stupid. But to bring our attention on this, Troy Smith, all these. Our main thing is, guess what? No one's good. Because now we have more black coaches in the NFL.
Right.
We have more black coaches. We have women coaches in the NFL. Mm-hmm. But guess what? The subtleties are now still there on black quarterbacks. And like the reason I am mad at the whole situation of Justin Fields from the thing is because to me, this became an optics thing the minute they chose Trubisky over Deshaun. And guess what? It was Deshaun. It was not Mahomes. I'm telling they stopped saying Deshaun's name when Deshaun got himself in trouble. But it was not Mahomes, so let's shut up about that. When they chose Mahomes, when they chose Trubisky over Watson, it became an optics thing. It became Watson became the cool kid. We want the black. I am saying this is truthful. They wanted the black quarterback. They want the cool kid in high school to look at him and say, "Hi, oh my God, he looked at me." That's what the fans wanted. It didn't matter. Not Trubisky. I'm sorry. Fields went 2-8 last year. He had some wonderful throws. He had some great plays.
He almost beat the Niners, who went to the NFC Championship game. Yes. And when I say he almost beat the Niners, he almost beat the Niners by himself.
Yes, he sure did. And it's like, that is the thing. But no matter what, he went under 60% in a year, in an era where the high school quarterbacks go 65.
Right.
In an era. He went and where his predecessor averaged 64.
Right.
And with a coach that just loves his curls, and he still threw under 60.
Yeah.
And so, I love Fields, but this is where I'm at. It's all optics. All of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, he looks so cool doing his throw through a tire. And it's like, do the same thing, and it's like the last guy sucked, whatever. The reason I'm mad at it is because as crummy as the fans, as the Bears have, as crummy as they have, it's all optics.
Yes.
It's all optics, and it's like, I don't want Fields to be optics. I don't want the LJ to be optics. I don't want that. I want them to be players.
Yes.
I don't want this to be. It's like, I don't want this to I don't want the whole thing to be, do you want to go to wide receiver anymore? Just, are you good? Yeah. Can we be simple on this? And are you good or are you bad? Are you everything? Let's quit. But the common sense problem happens. It makes it worse with Twitter.
Yeah. That right there, I mean, and especially when they engage back, it's crazy. You say, oh, well, he looked good throwing through this tire or this target or something like that.
Oh my God, he looks good shirtless. I mean,
like that too. And it's like, what was one of Bruce Lee's favorite quotes in Enter the Dragon when that dude smashed that board? He said, "Boards don't hit back.
Boards will hit back.
Boards don't hit back."
And I want to ask you a question now with this. What do you think that there is? I was telling you about the subtleties to this day. They can come from the pundits, which I call this a pundit for a reason. It comes from the idiot pundits. Do you think that there are always good? Do you think there are still the subtleties of the black quarterback that they try to discuss? Okay, play it.
Yes, there still are. I think the world is still kind of adjusting to, because, all right, let me ask you a question. Out of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now, how many of them do you think are black? What percentage? Would you say 50%, 30, 70?
Oh, 50 over.
Yeah. I mean, you figure Dak, Russ, Mahomes, Watson, Jackson. Yeah. You know what I mean? For so long, we've been used to a lineage of white quarterbacks being successful. And the black quarterback was rare. Who are the only, go back to the 80s and early 90s, who were the really only black starters in the league outside of Cunningham and Moon?
Well, you had Cunningham, Moon. Let's see. You had Cunningham, Moon. I know there's like two more. There are, I'm just saying, I have to remember it, but I know there's like three, maybe four tops.
And that's out of a league at that time period that was 28 teams.
There's still, here's the funny thing. In all three deals and whatever, I was counting the black quarterback, and I'm still saying this. Like, but all three positions, first, second, and third string, it's still like 77 white, 28 black.
Yeah.
It's still like something along those lines. Out of 105 quarterbacks, still 77 white. Right. So it's like, guess what? There is another deal. It's like, guess what? They'll talk about that you have to have black. You have to have more black. You have to be able to get black coaches in the offensive side now. That's what they're saying for the good. But guess what happens? John Fox is back in the league. John Fox is back in the league, and there are old coaches that are getting back in as representatives.
Yes,
as whatever. Guess what? They will get a job again.
Yes, they will.
They will get a job again, and it's like there's a sneak attack on everything. There's a sneak attack on everything to be able to do. The reason I bring this up, I'm not going to bring this up based off of. I'm not doing it based off of a racism thing. It's because to me, the subject to say it by itself is the low hanging fruit. We need an answer. We need an answer what they're doing. We need to be able to discuss it. Because, yes, of course, there's racism. Of course, there's people that have that thought process. But the discussion of why is always low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, that's true.
And that is why we never get anywhere. That's why we never get anywhere.
Right. Again, the answer is obvious. It just needs to be addressed and rectified more. But we are at the 1 hour mark. So
one more thing. Let's do the one more debate. One quickie.
Okay. All right. Hang on.
Remember, it's Ronnie. It's Ron and Ronnie.
There we go. Okay. All right. So for the next, 2 minutes? All right. So LeBron and Bronny's next move before Bronny is drafted. I know you wanted to touch on this topic. I'll just bounce off you. Go ahead.
I want because I want your opinion too on it. But I brought this up on Facebook tonight. I said this: if LeBron is smart, invest money in Big Three.
Yeah.
Invest money in Big Three. Give Ice Cube the money that that's Kaepernick reneged on. Get him the money because 3-on-3 is a show, and Bronny wants to put on a show anyway. Right. Get him on that league, and get him in an area where it's a bunch of celebrities. LeBron will always be there. It's his investment.
It's his investment. True. I think what he should do, crazy, but LBJ's a brand. He can start one for his son. To at least give him something to fall back on. Because seeing as, he's this generation, if all else fails, Bronny will be a businessman. He has his dad to teach him, So why not educate him right now? And who better? Because LeBron he became the first active billionaire,
Well, LeBron at 19 years old was going to Warren Buffett.
Yeah. 19 years old, going to Warren Buffett. He was 20 or 21. He signed to Rockefeller as like a sport. But you're talking about how over time a dude has been really good with his money and marketing and everything. Bron's got how many ventures out there? Yeah. I would say get the boy started early. He's going to still work on the draft and work on getting drafted.
My complaints of LeBron have 100% been is on the court. You've heard me. I have never complained about his being a family guy. Never complained about he's a phenomenal husband, phenomenal dad. He has that school. I'm proud of that. I am happy he does that.
Probably a top 5 philanthropist right now.
Absolutely. But my issue is a lot of my issue to me is a lot of on the court stuff and whining and complaining and a lot of this, which a lot of stuff in truth he can ignore. He ignores Skip Bayless relentlessly. He can ignore a lot of other things. Yeah,
that's true.
But no, the thing about it, here's another idea when he does get it. When he gets I'm trying to think. When he gets drafted. Here's another idea. Have LeBron coach the summer league team for his son. Imagine the numbers. Imagine you can go to Rucker Park. You can go to Venice Beach.
Yeah.
You can go and just fill stadiums. You can fill parks. You can do all those things. LeBron is a draw.
Yes, he is.
Though, see, this goes beyond fan. This is what I try to talk about. I can get mad at him. He's a draw. He's a draw. Yeah. And it's like, do that. Use him, and you can get Bronny. Or go to Big Three and do those things. Give him anything. Get your face out there constantly. See, you are what Hulk Hogan wanted to be for Brooke and Nick.
Yeah.
See, Hulk has a big enough name, but it was all Hulk. His kids weren't that. His son's talent is a DJ. I don't know what Brooke is. but
also keep in mind, he had a nephew that was already in wrestling with him in the NWO. So you got to think, how much did he invest in him?
Yep. But you're right. And it's like, that's the thing. That's the big thing, though, is LeBron is what Hulk Hogan wanted to be able to make the kids stars. Because Nick made it on his own, other than making the name Hogan. He became a good DJ around the area. He's got himself some success. Brooke, I don't know what she is, but Bronny's going to be as big as Bron.
Yeah.
And that's because of Bron. And it's like, and that's the big deal. So those are the things. Use your face, use your head, fill the stadium so that they can see Bronny.
Yeah. Yeah, so they can see him more and get him more exposure. I mean, social media helps a lot, but, people physically come to the games at the end of the day. So, yeah.
Social media. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just saying, of course, I know in basketball, we talked about what if social media was around during Magic Bird. Well, the thing about it is you got social media right now, and as negative as people ain't talk about it, it's the way of society nowadays, You kind of have to have a social media to operate if you want to be a big name.
Guess what? Social media is 40% bots, but there's a 60%. And it's like, but the thing is, the 60%, like I said, though, you'll get your trolls, but you get the 60% to be able to advertise your product.
Right.
And it's got to still be in person. You saw how it died during COVID when it was on little TV screens. Everybody thought, oh my God, this is going to be the future. Oh, it lasted about 5 minutes.
Yeah, because as soon as the world opened back up.
Yep. I mean, because people want to slap fives in the end. There are not anywhere near enough introverts out there.
Nothing in this world will beat physical human interaction.
And that will be forever.
I will concede nothing will ever beat it. But we're at an hour and 6 minutes, so we got to wrap up here. Thank everybody for tuning in. Shout out to Big Mike for being in the comments and everything. And Jacob, let us know what you got going on.
I will tell that in just a second. But Jen, we miss you.
Yes.
We cannot wait to see you back next week. We would have loved you on these subjects tonight, and it's like, you are in our hearts and our prayers, and you really are. We love you to death. Now,
but we also will say this: don't rush back. All right, Pundit's going to be here. All right,
yes, it will.
Come back when you're ready.
Yep, and it's like it will be there, and we will not move. And the thing is, and if we end up going to ESPN or any of those type of things, you're with us. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, they got to sign. ESPN got to pay us $4 million to pick you from us. Just so they know.
I'm kidding. But I am. Let's see. I am this tonight, Thursday nights on the Pundits. Sunday nights the Basket Bros with everybody, with you, with the Will Vogel, and with Dom, who's probably on his eighth beer tonight. And then and then 8th beer and 7th vodka. No. and then Monday night, or he's mixing beer and vodka. I'm just trying to figure, but still, it's And then Monday nights during the season. Monday nights during the season, I am I am on the NBA Carousel, Megan Price's NBA Carousel, and I will be meeting sometime this weekend. If everything goes right, I will be meeting Michael Esposito in person. So we're going to have some fun, and then we're going to probably be talking about our future show, which is a little past, but now I've gotten past the move, we're all good.
All right. Yep. And hey,
what about you, bud?
Real quick, let's see. Right here on Pundit with Jacob Christner and Jim Matthews Lewis. Also, Basket Bros on Sundays with Dom, Jacob, and Will. Saturdays, The Gauntlet with myself, JJ, Dom, and James. And also Cubfidential on Tuesdays. I produce it, hosted by JB Ellis.
I forgot Cubfidential.
With Jordan, Jacob, Steve Schwanda, Jen also. So, hey, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. We will see you next week. This is the Pundits Pundit.
Take care.